This is a pack of SamSafe table water, and this is 35 cl. There are 20 bottles in a pack, and this is one of our most demanded products. Now, before you start bottled water production, there are certain things you need to know about the bottled water production process. That's right from the factory and down to distribution. Now, before you get into the water production business, you might be asking yourself, which one is more preferable? Should I go with pure water or should I start with bottled water? And it can be kind of confusing for you to be able to choose which one, or for you to know which one can be best for you, because different markets have different needs, and there are several places where maybe bottled water will thrive well for you and sachet water will not do, and vice versa. So it is very important for you to know what you are going for when you are starting bottled water production. Now, the first thing you need to know is that for bottled water production, compared to sachet water production, establishing a bottled water manufacturing factory can be quite expensive. And this is because of the amount of equipment and the materials involved in setting up a bottled water facility. For setting up a bottled water facility, there are several items you need, several equipment, heavier equipment. You need your monoblock machine, the one that does the filling, washing, and capping. You need your shrink labeling machine. You need your shrink wrapping machine for packaging it and making it come out in a pack like this. Then you also need your blowing machine for making the bottles. So these are just a few of some of those items you need, and even the materials too. You need several materials to be able to produce a bottle of water. So with all these things involved, it can be quite expensive to establish. But depending on your market and depending on who you are supplying to, the returns on your investment can be quite high. Now, for establishing a bottled water factory, you will need to set up the factory in a place that has a lot of water. Now, the water that will be coming into the monoblock machine, the monoblock machine does washing. And to do high pressure washing for bottled water, it takes a lot of water. So a lot of water will be going out as waste because of the washing. So you need a lot of water to be able to handle the washing, the filling, the capping, and every other activity that goes on in the factory. Now, for the factory structure, in my last video, I did a video about building a water factory. Now, normally, if you are building only a sachet water factory, you won't need a blowing room. But for the fact that you are building a bottled water facility, you'll need a blowing room. Now, the blowing room is where the bottle making activities of the factory takes place. If you are producing your 35 cl bottles, your 75 cl bottles, or even your dispenser gallon, it all takes place in the blowing room. Although for the dispenser gallon, a more economical way to do it, it is more cheaper for you to get the already blown bottles, recycle them, wash them, then fill them, because the blowing machine for the dispenser gallon can be quite expensive. So it's also an alternative if you are in that line of production. Also, for the bottled water production, you can also have your bottles blown externally for you. That's from a different factory. Somebody will blow your bottles and bring them for you. But the logistics for that now can be quite demanding and taxing, because the person blowing there, you need to pay the operator, you need to transport your preforms there. After blowing, you need to transport it back. So by the time you do all the calculations for that, you'll see that it will affect your cost of production and your profit margin for producing bottled water. Now, once you've built your factory, and you can check out my last video where I talked about building a water factory. Once you've built your bottled water factory, you will need enough electricity and enough current coming into that factory. In short, you will need current of more than 100 kVA coming into the factory. For this specific reason, in our factory, we bought a transformer to be able to supply current to our bottled water equipment. Now, you might have some challenges with maybe light coming in into the factory. It might be low current. In short, we experienced it one time for more than a month. We were having low current in our bottled water facility. So we need to get that transformer to be able to, adjust the current and make sure that enough light is coming into the factory. There was a time where we had issues, especially during the rainy season. where the light was fluctuating, we're getting low current, it will become high after a while, and it affected a few of our equipment too, especially the shrink wrapping machine back then. So we really had to work on that. So having a transformer will help you, stabilize the electricity, especially in a bottled water facility. Now, for the transformer too, regardless of if you are getting a transformer, a generator, solar, your target should be 120 kVA or 150 upwards, because this is the amount of current and electricity that should be able to satisfy your factory, including your borehole, your equipment, your treatment equipment, your bottle making machine, your shrink wrapping, and every other thing within the factory. So having this amount, this capacity, will be able to help you stabilize the current in the factory. Once you are done with the construction of your factory and maybe you want to do registration, it's important for you to know that you need to do the registration specifically for your bottled water. Now, you might already have a sachet water facility, but according to NAFDAC requirements, it's also required for you to do the registration for your bottled water. Now, there are some people who have asked me in the past, okay, I have a sachet water facility in so location, and I want to set up my bottled water facility in a different location. Although your products might be carrying the same name, but it is also advised by NAFDAC that you should do a registration for both facilities. That's doing for your sachet water and doing for your bottled water. Now, even if it is a bottled water facility, maybe you have a bottled water facility in Abuja here, and you want to open another branch in the same Abuja, you still need to do a fresh registration, because what they are going to do is they are testing the water, they are testing the quality of that particular borehole to be able to determine if it is safe for consumption. It is not the name they are looking at this point, it is the quality of the water. So it is important for you to also have this in mind and for you to be aware of it, so that in case you run into any challenges in the future, you won't say you didn't know of this. And a good place for sourcing information about NAFDAC requirements is just to check their website. I will leave the link to their website in the description so that you can go there, also read up on the information which they have there, and have a better understanding on how to go about the registrations. And in my one-on-one coaching session, I have a contact of someone who works with NAFDAC that does water registration. He does registration for CAC, and every other kind of government documentation you might need, even the water testing, he follows up on that. So once you sign up for the one-on-one coaching session, which I'll be leaving the contact information at the end of the video, we can discuss there, and you'll be able to get more value from there. And the one-on-one coaching session is not free, please. So by the time you contact me, we'll be able to discuss more and know how to proceed about your project. Now, I'm coming down to the bottled water production. For you to produce a pack of bottled water, a pack like this, and for you to have a single bottle like this, there are several things which you need. And the first one, just by showing you here, is the cap. You need the caps. So the caps is what covers the bottle, and the caps need to be good to be able to avoid any leakages. You can see, like, there are some times where you buy caps, if you are getting it from maybe a supplier that doesn't have good quality caps, you see that after capping the bottles, the water will start leaking from here. But now this one is properly sealed and there are no leaks. So I don't know if you are hearing noise. There's so much noise here in the background. There's a dog barking, there are people discussing, so please forgive the audio and just focus on my voice. So this is the main bottle itself. This bottle is what you put in the blowing machine, your bottle making machine. That's the PET bottle that will actually form this bottle for you. And for you to actually form this bottle in your blowing machine, you will need a mold. You can get a plain mold or you can get a customized mold. We have a customized mold for SamSafe water. Let me show you here. You will see an inscription on the bottle. It says SamSafe. This is, I don't know if you can see it. I will include a clip of our other bottles so that have it. So this is an inscription to show that this is a bottle of SamSafe, even without the label. Now, another material for bottled water production is the label. This label will need to be approved by NAFDAC and be checked by CAC before you can be able to use it on your bottled water. They will need to check that the name is available and if your design is approved by government. Now, these are the major things you will need for producing the bottled water. Now, for packaging the bottled water, you will need a shrink wrapping film. This shrink wrapping film is what is out here, like this external film you are seeing. This is the shrink wrapping film. The shrink wrapping film, you will put it in the shrink wrapping machine. You put your bottles inside and it will do the shrink packaging for you. Now, there are several ways of doing shrink wrapping. There's the automatic one, which you use the shrink wrapping machine, and there's the manual one, which you use the hot air gun. That manual one takes a lot of time, and we usually only use that manual hot air gun if there's no light and we are trying to round up some products to deliver to the market. Maybe somebody is waiting for us urgently and we just need like 5 packs to package and give the person. That's when we use the hot air gun. But the shrink wrapping machine is what is highly recommended for fast packaging. That one packages the bottles, that's regardless of that 5 cl, 50 cl, or any amount. It does the shrink wrapping and it packages it to come out fine and neat like this. So these are the major materials that are needed when it comes to bottled water packaging and production. Now, for these materials, there are several suppliers of them. Depending on which state you are in, there should be a supplier of materials for bottled water production and packaging. Now, one way which you could actually get a supplier, because people do reach out to me, but the problem here is if you reach out to me, sometimes you might be reaching out to me from Jigawa, me I'm in Abuja. You might be reaching out to me from maybe Lagos, me I'm in Abuja. You might be reaching out to me from any state. In short, even outside the country, people have reached out to me. But one easy way for you to get a supplier, and which I feel to even be more reliable than the one I'll be providing, is by doing local research. Now, there are people who supply bottled water. I'm sure within your area there's someone who supplies bottled water. You can, find out from the suppliers, maybe the drivers of the vehicles, or you can pick the bottled water, call the number. Usually, it's the manager's number that is on the bottled water. You can call the number, have a discussion with the manager, tell the person, okay, you're thinking of establishing a bottled water in this same area. You happen to see their water, and you would like to find out more about bottled water production. So from there, you'll be able to gain a lot of information about how much they sell, production capacity, the challenges that they even face within that community when supplying products. You just try to find out from them some of those major challenges which they face and how much they buy their materials, where they get their materials, and you'll be able to learn a lot from there. So for you to establish a bottled water factory, it is important for you to do all this groundwork research, for you to get a grounded knowledge on what the market will be like where you intend to set up your facility. Now, if you have enjoyed this video so far and you enjoyed the information being shared here, I'll really be happy if you would subscribe to the channel and also like the video. This encourages me to do more research, to create more videos, and to share more information. And I'm sure if you share the video, other people too who are interested in getting into this line of business will find more value in the videos. Now, for the equipment required for bottled water, they are of two sides. I've done previous videos where I've also discussed about this. There is the semi-automatic machine and there is the fully automatic machine. Now, the semi-automatic machine have some gaps when it comes to production, but the fully automatic machine is just an assembly line. It's a process. Now, for the semi-automatic, you need to manually feed the bottles, then it will do the washing, filling, capping, and the sealing. Then after it has passed through the shrink leveler, and even for the capping itself, for the semi-automatic, you will need to manually fetch the caps, put them in the cap holder of the machine before it actually caps the bottles. So this is the semi-automatic side. Now there's the fully automatic side, and the fully automatic side is a bit more expensive. For the fully automatic machine, for this you will need highest maybe 2 or 3 operators because the whole process is automatic, right from feeding the bottles, filling, loading the caps, shrink wrapping, everything. It is done automatic. So there's a difference between the semi-automatic and the fully automatic. Now, depending on the production capacity too, the prices of the machine they vary, because even for the semi-automatic, you can have the one that produces 3,000 bottles, 10,000 bottles, 20,000 bottles, and similarly too with the fully automatic. This all depends on your budget and how much you have to invest in this project. Now, one thing again is when you are setting up a bottled water facility, normally if you are working with 1,000 liters per hour reverse osmosis machine for treating your water, for the sake of bottled water, you will need 2,000 liters. Like I said, the bottled water machine does the washing, and the washing is done with treated water. So it's like you are doubling the capacity of the treatment process to be able to wash the bottles and to be able to also fill the bottles. So your treated water needs to be enough. That's why you will need to double the capacity of your water treatment equipment. Now, depending on your production size, if you are going with 3,000 bottles, 10,000 bottles per hour, depending on the machine, the size of the reverse osmosis machine too also varies. And by the time you are able to understand the kind of scale of production you like to go with, the quotation will be drafted to you that accurately tells you how much you are to pay or how much it will cost you for setting up such production lines. Now, also, for the bottled water, because of the amount of water required for bottled water production, you will also need bigger tanks. Usually, it is recommended that you have at least from 5,000 liters upwards for bottled water. Because, in short, 10,000 liters, that's what I would even recommend. Because it will be able to store enough water to handle all this washing, filling, and capping in such a way that you won't have shortage during production. And you should also have a large finished product room, because people who supply bottled water tend to have a lot of orders. In short, that's one thing we struggle with in our factory. Sometimes you might have orders of 100 packs, and if you don't have a large finished product room to store this water, a time will come when you will need water in bulk, and that's when you will start struggling to produce water, to pack water. And before you produce and pack, it will cause delay in supply. And one thing, once people make requests, especially for bottled water like that, they just expect you to come and deliver the water. People don't really know the back end of production process, or if you are going to go and get forms, if you are going to go and get labels. All they know is that they are requesting for bottled water and they expect you to supply that bottled water. So it is important that you have a large finished product room so that by the time you produce and you keep your water, you will be able to supply as soon as the order is placed. When we started our bottled water factory, we actually introduced the use of distributors to distribute the water. Now you can do something similar to be able to sell more of your product. These distributors are people who have like a large finished product room to ensure that's just the main thing that they need to have, a large finished product room or a warehouse to be able to store your water in bulk. Now by the time they have this water on ground, they can be able to make connections, make contacts with other people to sell your water. Now, if your factory is located maybe in Abuja and you have a distributor staying at the outskirts of Abuja, maybe that's Suleja axis or Gwagwalada axis, or even in Kogi State, your distributors can come to your factory, maybe pack like 200 packs, 300 packs, take it to their own distribution outlet and market the water from there. So this will help you also sell more of your product, create more awareness, and you'll be able to dominate the market by having distribution outlets in so many places. Now, speaking more on the marketing efforts of bottled water, your major targets should be places like eateries, bars, hotels, and also recreational areas, major recreational areas. In short, when we started our bottled water production, we also visited places like churches, showcase the products, and tell people, okay, we have something like this in the market. And we got a lot of orders. Even when we commissioned the factory, we invited some people, they came, they saw the products, and they picked from there. Similarly, too, you can go to maybe a mosque or somewhere and also supply. So by doing so too with your product, you can be able to create connections. We also have hotels, schools. We also have places which we know that they do make requests for us. In short, there's a church here too close to where our factory is that during any, should I say, Thanksgiving, any occasion they have, they place their order from us. So similarly too, you can boost your marketing efforts by having distributors, by doing outreach, by even posting it on your social media pages. Maybe you have a Facebook, you can post it there so that at least your family, your friends, the people who will be buying from you are people who stay close to you or people who stay close to your factory because of the transportation costs too. So by creating such awareness, you'll be able to educate more people and let them know that you have such product, good products in the market that is healthy for consumption. These equipments, they do have warranty. That's the equipment for bottled water production. But that notwithstanding, it is advisable that you always check on your machines. Like recently, we had our monoblock machine, the filling side shifted. These machines, the items, they are aluminum, they are made with steel. So as water is touching them over time, rust also builds too. So it is important that you grease the machine, you make sure that the equipments are up to standard, and you make sure that you don't have breaks during your production, because some of these items, like a little nozzle, just one nozzle that is not filling properly, can actually disrupt your production process, especially for bottled water. So it is important that you have a dedicated engineer that comes to check on your equipment and to make sure that all of them are running. And one thing is, for the semi-automatic, one challenge we faced was during production. One of our staffs a while back was not really paying attention to the production process. As they were producing, they were not looking at the equipment, were operating phone. That's why you need to, create rules, have ground rules within the factory. So because of this, like non-paying attention in the factory, it caused the filling side to jam. And because of that jam, the whole conveying side, the conveying section between the filling side and the capping side actually got stuck together. And it cost us a lot to actually separate them and fix it. It is important for you to educate your staffs on paying attention and focusing while production activities are going on. Now, for buying these equipment, that is the bottling equipment, you can either buy them within Nigeria or you can import them. Now, if you are just buying like a few items, you are just starting, I will highly recommend you buy from the Nigerian suppliers, because you have them easily supplied to you, they will be easily installed, and the people you'll be working with, at least they'll be able to understand the kind of project you are going for. But if you want to increase, maybe an existing supplier, or you're an existing manufacturer of bottled water, you can have bigger equipment supplied, because not to lie, in Nigeria we only have a few equipments. Like the equipments we have mostly are for small scale production. But if you need equipment to produce like 50,000 bottles per hour, anything large like that, you are going for like a massive production, it is importation that is the right way to go, because the people importing the machine, such production lines, will be able to properly install the machine. And advisably, please don't buy equipment from one person and have another person come and install it for you. I've seen a lot of people do that because maybe they are trying to cut down cost, or they are trying to be smart about it. They'll buy a few machines from here, they'll buy a few from this other person, and they'll ask another person to install it. So if you are buying from one supplier, at least let that supplier be the person installing the machines. Because if there's any cause for warranty to arise, it is the person that supplied and installed that will be able to replace the part for you. But if you buy machines from a different person and you have another person come to install it, they will tell you they are not the person that supplied. In short, they'll put the blame on the supplier of the machine. And if you talk to the supplier of the machine, he'll put the blame on the person that installed the machine. So it is good for you to work with at least one supplier and one installer of equipment. And if you are importing machines, let the people importing the machines be the ones to install it for you. Don't import machines from maybe China or Bulgaria and have Nigerian engineers, people who will come and tell you, oh, they've done it before, and you believe them. Then they go and blow up your equipment for you. So it is important that you keep these things in mind. All this will help you in, supplying your products effectively and timely in the market. Also, have periodic trainings with your operators and your drivers. This will help them have a better understanding on how to fulfill their duties perfectly in such a way that won't generate expenses for the company. So those are the major things you need to know when starting a bottled water factory. If there's anything I've missed out here, I'm sure in a few coming videos I'll be able to remember and maybe brush up and create another video containing that particular subject matter. If you want to subscribe to the channel or you want to join my one-on-one coaching, you can use the information on screen to join the one-on-one coaching. And the coaching is not free, please. I will share as much value as I can and share with you as much documents as I can and as much contacts as I can to help you with the project as you embark on it.